Hello everyone, welcome to this video. So today I decided to take upon this challenge. Now someone asked me if I could build a real-time trading platform. So I decided to take upon the challenge. Now first of all, I don't know anything about trading. I have not done any online trading before. So I don't know the terms they use in trading. So in terms of building the application, I don't know anything about trading. So I decided to take the challenge upon regardless and try and learn about it and build it. So I think the end results actually came out really great, and I want to show you the end results, and then I will take you through the application and then show you how I managed to get it working. So as you can see on your screen, we have a dashboard. And here, as you can see, that the prices are being updated in real time. So as you can see, it changes every 5 seconds. The prices are being updated. So these are basically the stocks that we have. And here is the price chart, which also keeps updating anytime the price changes. So here you can see, I mean, on the side, on the right side too, there is the trading dashboard. Basically, as you can see here, I am logged in as well. So we are going to implement authentication as well. So you should be able to log in, and when you log in, you can buy or sell stocks or shares basically. And when you buy or sell stocks, you can see you build your portfolio, and you also see some history here, some extra features that I added. And as you can see, whether you are gaining or losing based on the shares you've purchased from a particular stock. So let's go through here. As you can see, we have the chart, which shows the real-time update of the price changes, just like we have in the table here. Right, so here you can select the stock. I made it a multi-select so that you can select multiple stocks and then compare. As you can see, at the moment I've selected all the stocks we have, so you can see that we have like all the stocks, and the chart is basically updating when the prices are changing in real time. So here I also added different charts that you can switch between. So for example, I can make it an area chart, so I see it in an area chart form basically, or I can make it a bar chart kind of chart. And here I also added this show percentages, just to be able to show the price changes in terms of percentages. Now if you want absolute values, I can just switch this off, and as you can see, I am seeing the prices in their fixed value forms. Alright, so I can switch between it being percentages or it being like a fixed value, and I am seeing that as well. Now if I begin to unselect some of these, as you can see, they remove from the chart and only shows the chart for the stocks that I have selected. So if I select only one chart, as you can see, and these are the price changes over time every 5 seconds. So if I select a line chart, I mean, you can see it's just for that one chart, and I can add more stocks here as well, as you can see. So that is it about the chart. Now we go to this side, and as you can see, because I am logged in, I can buy or sell stocks. At the moment, I have bought some stocks. I've bought some shares basically. I mean, I misused the two, but I think I bought shares from a stock, right? Yeah. Now I bought shares from these stocks, so you can see I have 5 shares, 5 shares here, and this is the cost. 15 shares here from this stock, and that is the cost. So it's basically deduct from my total balance that I have here when I buy, and when I sell, it is going to add to the balance. Right, so for example, I am going to buy maybe 5 more stocks from here, so let me just say 5, and as you can see, this is going to be the cost. So I click on buy. You can see here trade executed, successfully bought 5 shares from Google, and you can see that the balance is reduced. And when I go here, you can see yeah, you can basically see that I bought 5 shares here, and here you can see that it is increased from 15 to 20 basically. Alright, so this is the history. Yeah, and if I decide to sell a share, or if I decide to sell shares, for example, I have 20 of these, so I can sell 10 of them. So I can go here and I can decide to sell 10. Alright, so let's just say 10. So you can see trade executed, successfully sold 10 shares of this stock. Now, if I decide to sell, right, so at the moment these are the shares I have from these stocks, right? So as you can see, this and this and this, I don't have a share from this stock, so I basically can't share from this stock. In reality, I shouldn't be able to share, right? So sell basically. So if I decide to try and sell, right, it's going to say you do not have enough shares for this trade, and I can basically sell from trades that I don't have stock shares. So I have to buy a share before I can be able to sell. The same way I can sell more than the shares I have. Right? So these are all functionalities that we are going to have. So you can see it is very simple. It is clean. I also implemented authentication, as I said. I can log out basically, and as you can see, when I log out, I don't see the dashboard because I'm not logged in. I can decide to log in basically. Alright, so if I try to use that email and then enter like a wrong password and try to log in, yeah, so I get an error here which says invalid credentials because my password is basically wrong. I mean, it's not connected to any server side or anything like that. All these data are like mock data. I'm mocking like locally, and I am basically updating it every 5 seconds, right? So we're going to keep things simple. We are not going to connect to any database or any server. Obviously, we are going to use Next.js, so we would have the API section to do that. I mean, to connect to like our endpoint like that locally. That's what I mean. But yeah, we would also have authentication. We would make sure we are encrypting our password and all that. We will use JWT to do the token creation and token validation and all that. It also supports light and dark theme basically. So if I switch to light, you'd see that yeah, it still looks nice, right? And I can switch back to dark. I prefer the dark. Yeah, so this is basically what we are going to do. We are going to build this entire application, and we are going to build it very quickly. All right, so where do we start from? Obviously, because I don't know anything about trading, I've not done any trading before. The first thing I have to do is to learn about trading. So I want to start timing myself. All right, so I have a timer here which I am going to set for myself. Basically, I want to time myself and see the amount of time I am going to be able to finish building this app. It is not going to be a complex app. All right, so we're going to build a real-time trading app, and it's going to be a simple version of it. So I just want to time myself and see how much time I am going to use to build this basically. So I've actually started a time. Go to ChatGPT and start learning about trading. So yeah, so this is the question I give ChatGPT to teach me about trading, right, in a basic way that I can basically understand. So if you don't know anything about trading, we are going to learn it together. I entered the question to ChatGPT, and this is GPT giving me a response, right? So what is trading? Trading involves buying and selling financial instruments to make profit. So the idea is to buy low and sell high. Traders analyze markets to predict prices, movements, and execute trades based on their strategies. All right, so I think this is basic enough. I actually get it. So it's more like it involves buying and selling of, items, financial items, basically. So you buy an item and you decide to sell it if you want, right? All right. So what are some of the key terminologies? ChatGPT gave me some key terminologies as well. So instruments, right? So the instrument is the assets being traded. So like stocks, forex, cryptocurrencies. Um, so these are basically what is called instrument. And there is also a terminology called market. So market is where trading occurs. All right, fair enough. Order. So a request to buy or sell an instrument. All right. So when I make a request to buy or sell a particular instrument, so basically when I decide to trade, that is the order. So for the order, we have market order and then we have limit order. Executes immediately at the current price. Execute at a specific price or better. Okay, fair enough. Basic enough. I get it. I don't think these are all the stuff about it, but I think this is basic enough to keep us going. All right. So that is the first thing you're going to be doing. Try and do your own research, a lot of research to be able to understand what you are going to be building. That is very, very crucial. All right, so I went ahead to ask ChatGPT to give me some features of what are the features of a trading app, basically. All right, so here is an overview of like a basic features of a basic trading app, I would say. So there's going to be real-time market data, that is the stocks that we are going to feed the platform with. So it shows live prices of instruments. Instruments could be same as stocks or something, as we saw above. And then we would also have charts and graphs for historical analysis. All right, so now the next thing I am going to do is I'm going to go online and look for some inspiration, right? I'm going to basically look for like UI designs of trading applications from maybe Dribble or uh, other sites, just to give me an inspiration of how it looks like visually. All right, so let me try and search for some. All right, so as you can see, I am here and I'm searching for stock trading app just to get some UI inspiration. All right, I think I am actually happy with the amount of inspiration I've got. Yeah, I mean, I've had a look at a lot of examples, so probably have enough visual um, overview of maybe the things I want to put in my application. So I think we are ready to start building ours. As I said, some of these examples are very, very complex. They are complex trading applications. We are going to build a simplified version of it, right? So yeah, let's actually get started. Alright, so after I was done with my research, I started with my planning. Alright, so I decided on the project name, the stacks I am going to use. So I made ChatGPT suggest some names for me, and I ended up going with Trade Sim. So that's the name I'm going to use for my project, right? So it's going to be called Trade Sim. So for the stacks I am going to be using now, I want to use stacks that I am comfortable with. I know I can work with faster. Right. Even though, as I said, I am going to be building this with Cursor AI. Cursor AI is going to do most parts of the project, but I am going to make sure I give it concrete specific directions as to what it should do, and I'm going to make sure that some of the stuff I do them myself. And the reason why I do it like that is I want to be able to understand every single part of the project. So I want to be able to know what is happening at every single part of the project, so that if I run into an issue and it is being difficult for Cursor AI to fix, I can fix it myself. I don't normally like putting like a large prompt for Cursor AI to build everything from scratch, and at the end of the day I'd have to deal with a lot of errors and stuff like that. I like to build the project bit by bit, basically, so that way I can know what is actually going on. I can look at the components that Cursor AI built, can understand and be able to fix issues. So Cursor AI is not going to do everything entirely. I am going to be doing some of the stuff. For example, I'm going to create the project initially with Next.js 15, and from there I'm going to open it with Cursor AI, and then I would basically continue from there. All right, so I'm going to go with stacks that I am comfortable with, also because there is timing and I want to make sure I get through this a bit quickly. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, so I have to use stacks that I am comfortable working with. So I'm going to be using Next.js, obviously. I'm going to be using Typescript as well. I would be, for the component and styling, I would be using Tailwind CSS. I would use CN. I mean, it automatically uses Tailwind CSS, right? So I'd use the two together. For the charts, I am going to use recharts because, as I said, I am comfortable working with recharts. I can work with it faster. I've basically worked with a lot of chart libraries, but I think for this one, I'm going to use recharts because I have used recharts a lot and I can work with it much faster. And for form validation, I am going to use Zod with React hook form. So these two work together really well, and it is easier to set up. It is very fast. And for state management, I cannot go with any other option than Zastand. The easiest state management you can have for React or Next.js. Now, for my authentication, as I said, I am going to implement a manual authentication flow locally. So I'm going to be using JSON Web Token. I'm going to be using bcrypt for my password encryption. So these are the stacks I'm going to be working with. Obviously, there are other small stacks that I'm going. There are other small packages that I'm going to be using, like icons and I mean things like datepick and stuff like that. So we would basically install all of them once we create our project. Right. The next thing is to create a new project, a new Next.js 15 project here. Alright, so I'm going to create a new Next.js 15 project here. So I'm going to open my terminal. So I'm going to say npx create next app at latest, and I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to go through all the options and choose the one I want. Alright, so as you can see, the project is done creating, and we have the default files here. Right, so you can open up. There's also public, and if I open package.json, I don't have any other packages installed apart from the default one. So the first thing I'm probably going to do is I'm going to install all the packages I'm going to be using, and I'm probably going to remove all these files and start from scratch. So because I have the visual representation, I know how to start building the components. So as you can see, I have opened this in Cursor All right, this is Cursor editor right now, and it looks exactly like VS Code. So Cursor editor, if you've used it before, you know it's very similar to VS Code. In fact, it is actually VS Code. And the cool thing is that you can import your VS Code settings into Cursor, so you have it looking exactly like VS Code. So if you are a VS Code user, when you're using Cursor, the feeling and the experience is going to be exactly the same. The only thing is that yeah, you have your icons up here, right? But I like it that way. I think it's basically cool that way. You can toggle the AI editor, and as you can see, the composer, there is a chart here. There is also like the agent side. If you switch to agents can basically install packages for you. It can yeah, run terminal commands. So we have these in our possessions, and also because I have a limited number of usage on request, uh, with Cursor, I'm using Cursor Pro, but I have 500 requests per month. So I don't want to be putting everything on Cursor because it is going to reduce the number of requests I have, and I'm going to reach my limit very, very soon. That's why I like to do pair programming. So some of the stuff I feel like they are simple enough I can do. I don't have to let Cursor do for me. So for example, I can just run a simple command to install my packages, all the packages I want, instead of having to tell Cursor to install these packages. All right, just to reduce the number of, just to reduce the usage. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and forth a lot with Cursor, but because I have a representation of the application and I also have the requirements, I'm going to be building the pieces bit by bit. That way, I would also be part of the code. I would also understand what is going on, where to find each file or each code that is going to be created by Cursor, and what every single file is doing. And I would be able to fix errors myself if I have to. Might not have to. All right, so it's gonna be an interesting journey. I don't want to bore you with all the back and forth with Cursor and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to be doing this, and I am going to come back. I'll show you all the code that I get for the final results, and then we would also look at the final results. Basically, we will go through the code. Basically, you'd also have access to the code if you want, like in the description, so that you can clone it from GitHub if you want. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the prompting, start pair programming with Cursor, try to put some prompting, get Cursor to start creating some of the files or some of the components. Before that, I'm going to install the packages as I said, and I'm going to let Cursor create some of the files. We're going to fix the errors together, make sure like we get a working application basically. At the end of the day, we don't want to spend a lot of time, so let's see what we get. I am going to see you shortly. All right, so as you can see, there's been a lot that we've done within a few hours, and I'm going to give you the time, the duration we used after I go through this with you. But I would say we've done a pretty decent job. We've actually built this a lot quicker than I expected, and I'd say Cursor AI did a good job. There were obviously like some errors, like a number of them but I don't think it was as many as I anticipated. Some of them I would just tell it to fix them, and it will fix them quite quickly. I think most of the errors we faced were TypeScript errors, and with TypeScript errors, I could fix them myself. So I think we were able to do this quite quickly. So I am pretty happy with the end results, and the end result is actually looking really, really good. There you go. So we have a real-time trading application with real-time updates, right? And it happens live, right? Very, very cool. And as you can see, we have a user logged in. You can see their dashboard, their default amount, and there is also some history here. Because I am persisting the state, these are like the default, the previous history that when I was testing, I actually tried it out with. Um, yeah, but I would say it turned out very, very cool, very, very good. And I was also able to add like a lot of cool features that I actually am happy about. So for example, the select to select like, so these are the filters. So the select to select multiple stocks. All right, so here to be able to see them in the chart. As you can see, the chart basically updates in real time. And these different charts that I added from Rechart as well. All right, so you can switch to area chart, you can switch to line chart basically, and it looks very, very cool. All right, and you can switch to bar chart as well. And I also added this to show it in percentages or in absolute values, fixed values. All right, so you can see if I remove some of the stocks from here, you begin to see it's for specific stocks. Right, and here you can decide to buy or sell. Right. So yeah, it turned out very, very cool. And as you can see, I also have a theme switcher, light and dark. Right, and the user is logged in. I can log the user out, and you see the details are gone because the user is logged out. But you can still see this one because this one is basically for everyone, whether logged in or not. So we have a cool trading, real-time trading application, and I am going to take you through the code. All right, so here, as you can see, we have all our packages. All right, so we have bcrypt, we have some other packages here as well, but the main ones, we have React hook form, we have recharts as well, we have TypeScript, we are using Zod, we are using Stand. So those are our packages. As you can see, there are some other utility packages that I am also using, but these are my CN components, right? So you can see them, and these are all the components we created. So when I say we, I mean myself and Cursor. I didn't create any of these line. Cursor created all these components, but we made them better together, I'd say. So if there is anything I am not happy with, I'll just tell Cursor to like edit and make it the way I want, right? So at the end of the day, this is more like a summary of everything that is in the project. Let me hide this AI pane so that I get more room to show you the code. So let me close the component, and I'm going to start from lib. All right, so here we have auth.ts, basically the site that lets you log in or register as a user. I'm using Zod here to basically validate my schema. I mean the fields, the email and password fields as well. This is for register, right? So you can see this is for register and this is for login. So for the register, we get the user credentials. We validate that the credentials are valid, like we have a valid email and then a valid password as well. We check, and then we check that if there is not a user in our system that has the email, if there is, we would say user already exists, right? So a common thing that happens in authentication flow. We hash the password by using bcrypt.hash. And if we are sending this to the server side, we will send the hash version to the server side, basically, right? All right. And this we generate a random ID for the user. So at the end of the day, we do users.set. So users here is basically a map. So you can see here we have a new map, right? So it's going to keep key value pairs of our users, and we do users.set here basically, and these are the details we are storing for the users, and then their key is the email, and we do jwt.sign, and then we put an expires in 24 hours here. So that is when the like the session is going to expire. Basically, we would say it's session. So here we have the token that we generate from JWT, and we store it together with the user details. As you can see, the ID is here as well. So that is it. That is how the register happens. We check if the user exists. We will say user already exists. If not, we would just register the user by encrypting their password, generating an ID for the user, generating a JWT token, and then we are going to save the user details. For the login, we do the same thing. We get the details, the credentials, we validate with Zod. We check that the user details already exist. The user details are there. If they are not, as I am doing, if not user, invalid credentials, or if their user, if their password does not match what is there, we would also say invalid credentials. And we would do the same thing. We would generate a token and we would save it if none of these are correct, if it is like a valid user logging in with correct password. Nice. So this is for verification of the JWT token. So we do jwt.verify token, and then we do the secret here. So we have a simpler version of authentication flow, and it works okay. Here is where we have the initial stocks. Right, so as you can see, we have a symbol, we have the name, price, previous price, percentage change, we have the volume for all of them. And down here, I had to add these comments here just to help myself and you reading it understand it a bit well. But this is a function that generates a mock price update for a given stock, right? So this is where we basically update the stocks we have here every 5 seconds, right? So first of all, we just calculate a random price change within negative and positive 1%, right? That is of the current price. So that is what we are doing here. So we get a new price. So the new price is going to be the previous price plus the price change here. And we also calculate the percentage price, which is going to be this. And at the end of the day, we are going to return the new details. That is the new price. Right, so we have the previous price, we have the new price, we have the percentage price, and then the volume. So it's a simpler function. Actually, let's go to our store so that I can show you what we have here before. So we have Zastand. We are using Zastand, as you can see here, and we are creating a store. So this is the model of our store. We have stocks. We are saving the stocks. We are also saving we have the user. All right, so we are managing the user here, the traits, and there is also is connected. All right, so we use this is connected to check if we are online or not. So when the browser is able to connect to internet, or when the browser loses internet, we are going to notify the application. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you that. I don't think I showed you that one, but I'm going to show you very soon. And yeah, I think you'd understand if you've used Zastandi before. It's a very simple state management library. You just call create, right? And we are just passing the type here, and we do so. We are wrapping it in persist because we want to persist some items in local storage. So here, this is the name of the local storage key, trade sim, right? And then we do partialize because we don't want to persist everything. So this is where I am persisting the user and then the traits, right? So I can persist uh, other details like the stocks if I want, which I'm going to be doing. Yeah, but apart from that, yeah, it's a very simple file. We are creating a store, and then these are the items in the store. These are the updater functions. So if you want to update the stocks, we call this update stocks, and I'm going to show you where we are updating the stocks. Whenever we generate the new stocks every 5 seconds, we update the store with it. All right, so I think that's basically it. The rest is the TypeScript types. We also have utils here. It's not doing anything much. It's a Tailwind stuff. But if you go to page, for example, this is where we have our this is where we have our application, all the components happening. Right, so here, as you can see, we have trade sim trading platform. As you can see, then here we have the market overview. We have the stock chart and then the trading dashboard. So let's look at the market overview. Store here, and here we are calling generate mock price update. Right, so this is simulating the stock updates, the price change updates. So as you can see, I'm using set interval here, so nothing really serious happening here. I keep on saying I'm using, but in actual sense, I just told Cursor AI to write for me. So yeah, to write it this way for me. So yeah, pardon me, we did it together. So yeah, we have set interval here, right? And then the updated stocks. Stock store map, and then we pass generated mock price update. That's a function which is going to generate the updated price update, and then we are updating our store by calling update stocks with the updated stocks. And as you can see, it happens every 5 seconds. So you can change the time if you feel like it is too slow, or like you wanted to happen quickly, or maybe much slower than 5 seconds. And we have to make sure, like on mount of this component, we are clearing the interval as well. Very important. But apart from that, we just have the table. We are building the table with the stock details. So as you can see, for example, here where we have the text green and then the text red, we are just switching between the percentage change, and whenever it is a negative kind of value, it is going to be red. If it is positive, it is going to be green. Nothing really fancy happening here. And here is where we add the arrow as well. So if it is a down arrow, it means it is negative. If it is up arrow, it is positive. All right, so it goes with the green and then the red. Yeah, apart from that, nothing really fancy going on here. It's just a simple component. So we just looked at the market overview. Now this is the chart. So we have this stock chart, and here I can see a lot are happening here. All right, so let's actually go to the template. As you can see, we have the title price chart, we have the chart type selector, we have the stock selector, we also have the switch, which says show percentages and stuff like that. So as you can see, that's the layout. We have the trading dashboard. So the trading dashboard is where you see your balance and the rest of so this is basically the stocks. We go through the stocks, we display them, and we let you buy or sell if you want. Here is where your portfolio actually shows up, like the shares you've actually bought. They shows up here. There's also the trade history, and yeah, this is a modal to whether you want when you want to buy or sell. This is the modal it opens. So let's open some of these. All right, get stock current price, calculate position value, and stuff like that. So these are all the components we created. Obviously, they are simple components. When you go through, you basically see what is happening in those components. I feel like I don't have to go through all these components because it's going to take like a long time. So yeah, you can basically have a look at all the components and see what's going on there. We also have API auth, right? So the login and register routes. All right, so here we call the register from lib auth. And for login, we do the same thing. All right, so this is serving as our backend basically. Inside auth modal, when you want to log in, this is the endpoint we hit. So if it is login, then we hit the login endpoint. If it is register, we hit the register endpoint. The rest is just the form we are displaying, and we are validating it with Zord and React hook form. All right, so as you can see from here. So it is a very simple application. It is a very simple application. All right, so I'm going to disconnect my internet here, and you're going to see what happens. All right, so I'm going to disconnect. As soon as I disconnect, as you can see, connection lost, attempting to reconnect, right? So it just tells you that your application has lost internet connection. So this is basically when your application is pulling the data from a server. When you lost the connection, you're basically not going to get the updated price. So you get the notification here just to know that you've lost internet connection, right? It's a cool feature. And if you want to look at the code, let me show you. So connection status component, as you can see, I'm using window.add event listener. Right, so we have online and then offline, and here I do set connection status when online, and I do the add event listener, and then when the components are mounted, we are making sure we clean them up. So it's a very simple component, right? It just uses an alert. So that is basically it. That is basically our real-time trading application, and the end result is actually quite great. All right, it looks quite great. I think I like the dark theme more. Let me connect my internet back actually. I think I like the dark theme more. It feels like an actual trading platform when you are in the dark theme. So the internet is connected, so as you can see, it's gone automatically. I like the results. I feel like this is a good step in the right direction. Obviously, in the future, I would want to make this very complex, like add more features. But for now, I feel like this is good enough, and I feel like I have been able to complete the challenge successfully. It was basically an interesting experience because I had to learn something new. I didn't know anything about trading and all these terminologies, but it has helped me learn all these things. If I want to advance on this, I can easily do it because I have a good idea of how trading platforms work now. So this challenge was an opportunity to learn something new, and I've actually enjoyed building this out with Cursor AI. We used less than 4 hours. I think we used 3 hours and some few minutes. Let me see. I actually didn't stop the timer a bit early, but um, right now it is 3 hours and 32 minutes. So I think we used like 3 hours and 15 minutes or so to finish building the whole application. And that includes the research I did, the planning I did, which is incredible. It's possible because of Cursor AI. It built everything out for me and I didn't have to do much. I just have to give it directions, the right directions to be doing the right things for me. All right. So it's been a good experience, really, really good experience. Some of these things when I was working on the application, uh, they came when I was working on the application. They really come from the early planning or like the early visual idea I had. They just came when I was building the application out. So I added them and I am happy about it. So I feel like I've been able to execute the challenge successfully. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know the challenge you have for me, like the application you want me to build, and I'm going to do that. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave a like if you like the video. And I am going to see you in the next video.